Joe, you know what the weirdest thing about this movie was?
It wasn't his pickup line, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
No. He's got a habit of shooting dicks.
Habit? He shoots an attempted rapist in the dick. What's the second one?
The executive. Dick Jones.
Oh, does this still work? The podcast looks at old movies and asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka, and today we're discussing Robocop from 1987 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us. Even the ones who in no way, shape, or form look the part of one who would be running a criminal enterprise, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Now, George, take us back to 1987.
And this is the way it was.
Robocop is a cyborg, a human-machine hybrid, in Detroit no less. So I wanted to talk about cybernetics in the history segment. Pin in that. Joe, give us our first headline from the Detroit Free Press of Detroit, Michigan.
Refusnik may leave.
I'm just going to read the article because it's short. Moscow. Jewish Refusnik Alexander Lerner, a cybernetics specialist denied permission to emigrate for almost 17 years, said Monday that officials told him he would be allowed to go to Israel. Lerner, 74, was one of the leaders of the Refusnik community and one of the best-known figures remaining after the Soviets moved this fall to clear up long-standing cases by granting permission to others such as Joseph Begin, Ida Noodle, and Vladimir Slepik.
I have not heard the name Refusniks, I don't know, I guess in 20 years? Maybe longer than that. I forgot that was even a word we used.
Yeah, well, the Refusniks were mostly, but not exclusively, Jews in the Soviet Union who were denied permission to emigrate. The Soviet government was paranoid and saw emigration as a risk to maintaining state secrets. And of course they'd want to keep someone who could make man-machine hybrids around, because that's what cybernetics is, right?
Sure.
That was the only hit I got in Detroit, so I zoomed out to the whole of the US and landed on this next one. Joe, give us our second headline, this time from the Daily Illini of Urbana, Illinois.
University conference may clarify cybernetics concept.
I thought cybernetics was the science of how to modify living things with machine components or something along those lines. It can be that, but also, depending on who you ask, it's the science of feedback loops, the science of effective organization, or the science of regulation and communication. Which, not for nothing, as a guy who spent the last 17 years dealing with control systems and feedback loops, all of those things are needed if you're going to meld biological organisms with artificial technology.
So are you telling me that these are all different things or the same thing?
They're all cybernetics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cybernetics experts sometimes have nothing to do with biological and machine interfaces and just talk about organizing things. Like, it's a weird sort of meta concept thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like, I thought it was clear cut because, I mean, cyborg only refers to one kind of thing, right? That's a human with machine parts.
Right? Or it refers to the Teen Titans hero.
Yes. Or, the shortened version of which was the Borg in the Star Trek universe.
Borgs weren't in Star Trek. Oh, yes, they were. Sorry, I'm thinking of... I was thinking of the Battlestar Galactica villains, but that was...
No, Cylons. Those are Cylons.
Well, I'm glad we wasted everyone's time with that. Let's move on.
Yep, and since cybernetics was kind of a bust, Robocop is a cop, so let's see how crime actually was in Detroit in 1987. Joe, give us our last headline, again from the Detroit Free Press.
Victimization rates about the same.
I don't know if this is still true today or if it holds water in other states and cities, but at least in Detroit in 1987, crime rates in the cities and suburbs were statistically similar. This came as quite a shock to many who fled the city to the perceived safety of the suburbs. Detroit's executive deputy police chief said, "The Detroit readership is saturated with crime stories. As long as that is the case, there is not going to be any way to separate perception from reality."
Boy, that's true today as it was then.
Yep, all of it is true, as the rates and the fact that everybody's in a fucking media bubble.
Especially people who are older, don't go out, and they'll hear all these stories about crime. They're suddenly like, everything's a nightmare. Like, I told you this before on the podcast, my poor mom thought I was going to get killed every time I left her house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going in the subway. Oh, be careful. No one's going to push me, Mom. Honest. Everything's fine.
Yep. All right, Joe. Let's talk about Robocop.
Let us do that. Okay, this was directed by Paul Verhoeven. For this podcast, we've seen his work in Starship Troopers and Showgirls. And I recently saw his work in Benedetta.
And I've seen his work in Total Recall and Hollow Man.
And this is written by Edward Neumeier. And for the podcast, we've seen his work again in Starship Troopers. And it was also written by Michael Miner. We didn't see any of his other work.
Nope.
Blurb's IMDb says, in a violent future in old Detroit, murdered police officer Alex Murphy is resurrected as Robocop, a powerful cyborg law enforcer. As he fights crime, he begins to recover memories of his past and seeks revenge on the gang who killed him. YouTube says there's a new law enforcer in town, and he's half man, half machine. An old lover. No, sorry, that's not the part. He's half man and half machine.
He's way less lover than you'd expect.
Yeah, indeed. From the director of Total Recall comes a sci-fi fantasy with sleek, high-powered drive. Time. I guess the Time magazine said that. About an indestructible high-tech policeman who dishes out justice at every turn. When a good cop, Peter Weller, gets blown away by some ruthless criminals, innovative scientists and doctors are able to piece him back together as an unstoppable crime-fighting cyborg called Robocop. Impervious to bullets and bombs and equipped with high-tech weaponry, Robocop quickly makes a name for himself by cleaning up the crime-ridden streets of violence-ravaged Detroit. But, despite his new, hardened exterior, Robocop is tormented by scraps of memory of his former life, and relives vivid nightmares of his own death at the hands of vicious killers. Now he seeks more than justice. He seeks revenge.
Hey, that was long, as YouTube is wont to be, but way less parenthetical than it usually is.
True. Well, not a lot of people won awards from this, so that's why he's like, he's just blah, 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 Oscar winner, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, here are the characters we will be discussing. Robocop is played by Peter Weller, and I've seen his work in Star Trek Into Darkness. Lewis is played by Nancy Allen, and for the podcast, we've seen her work in The Last Detail, and I've seen her in Out of Sight, 1941, and Carrie, the 1976 version. Jones is played by Ronnie Cox. For the podcast, we've seen him in Deliverance, which I completely forgot. I was like, that's right, he was in Deliverance. He goes way back. We've also seen him in, both George and I, in Beverly Hills Cop, and I've seen him in St. Elsewhere, the TV show, which something I do want to make a claim for something before you move on to, or you've seen him, George? When he took over on St. Elsewhere, a character left, and he took over for that character, and then they brought that character back. I thought that was great. I don't think it was intentional. I think the actor really did leave, but regardless, it gave everyone something new to bounce off of, and I thought that made it a much better show. It gave him a better season because now it wasn't the same old rhythms again. This new guy created this new rhythm to the show. And also, curiously enough, I happened to see this video about Star Trek, and it mentioned Ronnie Cox in it because he barely took over for Picard briefly. And they were saying how great it was that suddenly this new guy, they love Picard. And of course, I knew Picard was going to come back. But having this new guy gave them something new to bounce off the other characters. And they thought it just made it a stronger show. And I thought, wow. So if you want something new, bring in Ronnie Cox, apparently. Have him there for a brief time and then take him out. And get out of that.
He's a great shot in the arm.
Yes, exactly. And where have you seen him in?
And he's apparently still alive.
He is very much still alive, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him in Total Recall.
Morton is played by Miguel Ferrer. Both George and I have seen him in Iron Man 3 and Broken Arrow. I've seen him in Another Stakeout and Citizen Ruth.
And I've seen him in Hot Shots Part 2 and heard him in Mulan.
Clarence is played by Kurtwood Smith. For the podcast, we've seen him in Dead Poet Society. And we've both seen him in Broken Arrow, that movie again. Who knew those two, Miguel Ferrer and Kurtwood Smith, were inseparable? And I've seen him in Cedar Rapids, and yes, I know he was a dad on that 70s show, but I never watched it.
And I've seen him in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, Deep Impact, and Girl Interrupted.
Was she really not interrupted?
It's a movie about borderline personality disorder.
Oh, so that was what was interrupting her own personality.
Sure.
More than one.
I mean, she was in an inpatient, mental health clinic, so that is kind of an interruption to your life.
Yeah, indeed it is. Okay, let's get into the plot of this film, Robocop. This movie is set in some alternative universe where everything conservatives think of cities is true. So crime is rampant, you can't walk a block without seeing a criminal running wild in the street. In this world, if cops go on strike, all hell breaks loose. So there are no unions here.
There's a police union.
No. They're going to form a union later. You remember? They're complaining about how things are working, and that's why they have to strike, and then all the craziness happens. They're striking to form a union.
You can't strike without a union.
Well, they went on a walkout. I don't know what to tell you. Although they call it a strike. So
the police union existed before Omnicorp took over the police department.
Okay, maybe I missed that then. Anyway, enter Murphy, who gets a new assignment at a police precinct where he is teamed up with Officer Ann Lewis. On Murphy's first day, he is murdered by a street gang run by a guy named Clarence. Yes, the street gang is headed by a dude named Clarence, which I guess is a joke? I don't know. I mean, why not Poindexter, for fuck's sake? Really underline the point, you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't necessarily know that that's a joke. I think picking a guy that looks like him to run the criminal enterprise is a joke, too, in that case.
Yeah, I think he's a street guy. He's not like he's Tony Soprano or something. He's running these gangs where he goes to work in a suit and everything. He's a street gang guy as well, just like them. And yet, they call him Clarence. You think he'd name himself something else. You know what Spike Lee's real name is? Shelton. His real name is Shelton. He calls himself Spike. He's a filmmaker, for God's sake. Why would a street guy I'm not calling myself Clarence? I don't know.
All right, let's move on from this, because I'm not sure it matters that much.
After Murphy is murdered, the corporation that runs everything gets a hold of his body. I don't know who his family thinks they buried, but it wasn't him. Anyway, Murphy is turned into Robocop. The guy who heads the program that turns Murphy into Robocop is headed by Morton. Morton's rival to create a machine police force is Jones. Jones was in charge until the machine cop he used in a presentation murders an executive.
By the way, that machine cop is a robot. No living parts to it.
By the way, people will watch co-workers get shot to ribbons in this film and act like they just took a Ambien in church. They move on after witnessing people die like normal people move on from a bowel movement. Was it meant to be funny? Was it satire? I don't know. We will discuss. Anyway, Murphy as Robocop is used to fight crime, and he is a huge success. This annoys Jones, who happens to be working with Clarence, the street criminal. A street criminal who is seen on the news, known by police officers, but still meets Jones in his office, where everyone can see them, and see that they work together. Forget Robocop later recording the two men in cahoots. They don't hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when shows him up, Jones has him killed. He then arms the street gang with high-tech weapons to kill Robocop. With the help of his partner Lewis, Robocop defeats the street gang. He then goes to the board meeting Jones is running. He proves Jones is a bad guy, and with the help of the man who runs the corporation, shoots Jones. Of course, Jones isn't just shot, but he goes flying through the window when he gets hit. Apparently, the bullets hit him with such force that it pushes him through the window of a high-rise office building. What you think would have killed him instantly, but no, he gets a yell as he falls to his death. The head of the corporation, who for some reason is portrayed as an innocent old man, when in fact he's head of a fascistic organization, congrats Robocop on killing a man he's known and promoted for years. He then asks Robocop what his name is, which is weird since he had to have signed off on this and know full well Robocop's name is Murphy. But Robocop says his name is Murphy, and the movie ends. I will probably never see Robocop 2, but I assume in that movie, Murphy sues the corporation for the pain and suffering they did to his family by making them think he was dead, and he also sues them for what they did to his body without his consent. I don't know. I'll never know because I'm never going to see it. Oh, anyway, George, I left out a lot. What would you like to add?
All right, number one, they very clearly in the movie state that Murphy signed a paper when he joined the police force, or at least when he was transferred into the new place, that gave Omnicorp rights to his body after he died.
Oh, I missed that. What?
Yep. You missed that.
They had a funeral, though. Who was the funeral for? I mean, what did they use? That's a memorial if there no bodies there, right?
You can put a body in the ground and then dig it up.
Oh, you think after they... No, but they didn't get his body.
Or he was so fucked up that it's a closed-casket funeral.
But his body's not there, so literally they put an empty casket into the ground.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you just explained exactly how that could happen. It's not that difficult.
Well, then it wasn't consensual. You said he first signed a paper.
Dead people don't have to consent to things anyway. They're dead.
But he's back alive, so you see where they...
He's not, though.
Legal.
He's a cyborg, and he's property. They make that very clear also. Also, one of the crimes that Robocop stops is an attempted rape.
Mm-hmm.
He does that by shooting the guy in the balls through the spread legs of a lady that he's holding like in front of him, through her skirt. Hence, we have a cold open. Because he does shoot a guy in the dick. And I genuinely love the end of this movie.
Okay.
Because, so, RoboCop had 4 directives. The first 3 were like, serve the public interest, uphold the law, and something else that goes on the side of a police car somewhere. The 4th one was, you're not allowed to arrest Omnicorp executives. Right? You're not allowed to do anything copy towards Omnicorp executives. So, when this Omnicorp executive, Dick Jones, is holding the CEO hostage, the CEO is like, you're fired. And then dives out of the way, and then Robocop shoots Dick to death, because he doesn't have to stop anymore. He's not an executive. Like, I thought it was, I'm like, all he has to do is fire the guy, and then he fires the guy. I'm like, good move. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
You know, I still have a problem with that character, though. I don't care about that by finding he says he's fired. That's very cute. But it's weird that the movie seems to try and make him out to be a decent human being. He's the one who's involved in all of this. He's the one who's responsible for it.
He's the CEO. He's given the role of running the corporation, but not really understanding what his underlings are doing. Like, that's...
Because he's brought into the meeting to see where Robocop's put it together. Remember, he's like, the other project fails because the guy gets shot.
In front of the CEO. Like, the CEO watches that project fail.
Yeah. It doesn't give a shit. And then he goes, okay, this didn't work. Oh, I have, and then, Morton goes, hey, I have a better thing. I have a Robocop. And he's like, great. We'll have a meeting about it later. So he knows about it.
Yeah.
Just put your presentation together.
But he also treats Robocop like a law enforcement. Like, he doesn't treat Robocop like a piece of shit. He treats him like a law enforcement officer.
He's still a fascist.
Yes, but there are fascists that are not just assholes all the time.
Yes, I'm sure Hitler loved his dog. What? So what?
No, that's all I'm saying, is you don't have to make the fascist always just an asshole.
All right, let's get into my questions here for you. Do you think Paul Verhoeven directed a pro-fascist movie, a satire of America, or a black comedy? All three.
I think all three.
You know, I should mention this before we go any further, because I do have a slight problem judging this film, because both of us saw it on YouTube, and I think he butchered what this man, Paul Verhoeven, had made. I remember clips I'd seen of Robocop, and I know what I was seeing there was like, this is not Robocop. This is someone's edited version, a TV version of Robocop. So, again, you and I saw him.
Not like we know this for a fact because promotional consideration for this brought to you by twice in the movie.
Yes, it's Brixton and Delta. That's right. Yeah, that's another point. But I mean, you know what I mean? Because just the way people were talking, the cursing was...
Well, yeah, they obviously dubbed out all the cursing, which was going to be a cold open.
And then it was, and then we see a lot of the violence. The executive gets shot. I remember seeing that clip. I never saw Robocop before, but I knew that clip where they just saw the guy getting, blood shooting everywhere and his body getting riddled with bullets. Completely cut out the YouTube thing. And I wonder, can we really judge this film based on that? Because as far as I'm concerned, they butchered what this man was planning to do. But answering the question about whether I think it's a satire or pro-fascist, I think it's a black comedy. That would be my guess. I think he did mean it as a joke.
Okay, so what else have we seen of this guy's? Starship Troopers. Yeah. So
and just Showgirls.
Right. So he's not a fascist. He likes to do satire of fascism. Right? He likes to play it up to the extreme. Not understanding that you can't. For the same reason you can't make an anti-war movie. Right? But it is definitely a satire of America and a black comedy.
Okay, I agree. If Robocop can't harm members of the corporation, why doesn't Jones hire the street gang executives before they go on to try to kill Robocop?
Because they didn't think that through when they wrote the script.
I mean, Jones knows his executives can't be hurt. He's
there's
that in Robocop.
There's probably a limit, right? The upper, the CEO and the vice presidents. Probably below that, you could still get arrested. Like, they're not going to protect every Omnicorp employee. It would be harder to hire them into that echelon of management.
I don't know. It seems like a pretty corrupt organization. How hard would it be to just...
Because the CEO would have to sign off on it.
So? I don't think...
And as the point you make, everybody knows these guys are criminals. The CEO was not about to be like, yes, let's hire these hardened cop-killing criminals into our company. That's not in his company's best interest.
I don't get the idea that they really care. Well, they're so open about it, so whatever. I just thought it was funny, like, hey, why don't you just do...
The bad guys are open about it. They kept it from the CEO.
I question where they kept it from. I mean, what, the man can't walk in the office at any minute? No one's telling him, blah, 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 the gangster is in the building? I don't know. I mean, again, you could only call it a comedy because otherwise it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Robocop was known for extreme over-the-top violence. The version we saw on YouTube cuts all of that out. They also counted all the potty words, which we already mentioned. Do you think that takes a picture? I obviously already said that I think it does.
Yeah, it has to. But we're cheap.
But you originally saw Robocop.
No, actually, when watching it through this time, I realized I have probably seen Robocop 2 or 3. I had not seen the first Robocop movie. Everything I knew about... Do you know who Lobo is in the DC Comics universe?
He's the bounty hunter that goes after Superman, right?
Yeah, he's a really fucking, like, crude, profane character. Mm-hmm. They did a one-off issue of that called Robocop, where Oscorp creates Robocop, and hilarity ensues. Right? Like, I was taking shit I knew from that and thinking it made me know things about the movie.
Oh, okay. So you feel like,
So no, I had not actually seen this movie.
So I can't really ask you, like, oh, didn't you notice the differences? Did you find it weird? But you couldn't because you hadn't seen it and I hadn't seen it before. I just knew about some of the stuff. And I feel bad for anyone who's unfamiliar with this and see this for the first time because I think it really is unfair the way that's done. You should, it's one thing on television, okay. But this is the internet. Just put the thing up there the way it was released in the theaters. Come on.
But that's also not, and to be clear, that's not a dig against the movie. That's a dig against our fucking infrastructure.
Yeah, against censors. Yeah, that's not a thing against the movie.
All right. And yeah, I have to agree. Like, I don't feel like I missed anything. I think every point that the movie needed to make as far as the violence that was happening and what was happening, I understood what was happening. So in that sense, it didn't lose anything.
I agree.
So, Joe, you were 19 or 20 when this came out. You didn't see it back then, but do you remember the response to it? Were people calling it satire back then, or was it just another 80s action movie?
The way I remember it is that it was basically just another action movie. I don't think anyone thought anything stood out about it. It was hyper-violent, which a lot of pictures were. Probably, all right, maybe slightly more, but, this is also a time of slasher flicks where, like, teenagers are running around half naked and getting that throat cut. So, yeah, it was a lot of violence in the movies. I don't think it stood out that much. I don't think, I think people took it for what it was, an action movie. Some people obviously thought it was satire. I think most people thought it was like, what are you doing? Or just one more cop movie, just another Sylvester Stallone type film where you just shoot up the bad guys.
So why did it take you 40 years to see it?
I don't know. I didn't want to see it at the time it came out because it just didn't seem like something that interested me. Yeah, so I was like, I don't want to see this garbage, some robot cop. What is this? I don't like cops as they are. One of us robots. Thank you very much. So I didn't see it. And over the years, I just have had no interest. It's not like the films I usually get shit for not seeing are usually films like The Godfather, which I've never seen. And, I forget what other,
Lord of the Rings.
70s.
Lord of the
Rings, yeah. There are a lot of classics out there I just have not seen. And some people are like, how have you not seen that? No one ever was that way for Robocop. No one cared if I saw it or not. So, never saw it. Not that it mattered. I haven't seen Godfather either, and I keep hearing about that. So, obviously, you can't bully me into watching what I don't feel like watching.
So, do you think this film predicts life in the 21st century?
No. Like any film, if it's general enough, it can, some things like, yeah, we still have that sort of thing today. God knows we still got fascism, probably even more before. And so we got corporations taking over stuff, but that was also happening in the 80s. That was certainly Reagan's thing. Yes, in some areas it does. Overall, no, but it's certainly a world that some people in this country would like.
I feel like the future it's predicting is one where law enforcement becomes more accurate and efficient in ways, and I don't feel like we've gone in that direction at all.
The funny thing about the 80s is, every depiction, well, probably not every, but the majority of the depictions of law enforcement are these guys who are not only hyper competent, but really care. Really care what happens to people.
And I really wish that, like, the cops we have were watching that when they were growing up and taking that on,
Oh, they did watch it, and the lesson they got out of it is, what a sucker.
Yeah. So, was it typical to have a film in the 80s where the man and woman work together and don't hook up?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, the two have only known each other for one day, which is funny. Like, can you imagine your first day, that's the day you get killed? Yeah, but still, it is unusual for a movie. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I made them married, so people wouldn't wonder if, why don't they hook up? Why is there a love scene? Because that is every other 80s. In fact, I will dare say every. If anyone can contradict me, please let me know. If there is an attractive man, an attractive woman, and their characters are they can, even if they're married, they're still going to like this. They're going to want hooking up. The husband or the wife will be a bad person, or the boyfriend or girlfriend will be cheating. And that'll allow it to that. They can never be the bad person in the whole thing, and they're going to hook up. So, I just think that was also true of TV at the time, like Cheers. There was a plot called Will They or Won't They? Where it's always guessing, will these characters have sex or won't they? And like they do this every season. Big in the 80s. So it was nice to see a film, yes. Again, they only know each other for one day, so it makes sense. It's still, but that's never stopped them, even movies. So,
well,
I'm glad it didn't hook up.
From the get-go, they wanted this to not go in that direction.
Yes.
They had Nancy Allen cut her hair really, really short in order to sort of remove some of the femininity so that you weren't looking at her as the audience wasn't looking at her as a potential love interest for the other guy. And to her, she said she wore men's underwear to try and get more in touch with her masculine side during that filming.
Okay.
Which, another interesting thing about that filming, anytime you see him in the car, he's only wearing the top half of his costume. Because he wouldn't fit. Oh. The costume added so much bulk that it lifted him, and he couldn't sit in the seat in his costume. All right. That's it for discussing it.
Okay. Well, then the next question is, my friend, does it still work?
I think as a sci-fi action movie, yeah. It avoids some problematic tropes. Like, it avoids the whole fucking workplace romance angle. It doesn't play into racism.
No.
Way less of it than there could have, or there's way none of it when there could have absolutely been it. I don't think there's anything necessarily problematic about the movie. It's a spitball hypothesis sci-fi movie.
I have to agree. Again, I think if anyone wants to see Robocop, please seek out a
better version of it than the free one on YouTube.
But other than that, I think it still works as a film. Yeah, I don't think it's particularly problematic. I don't think it's terribly offensive in any way. I mean, obviously, the depiction of the world it's in is ridiculous, but that's true of a lot of films. You certainly can't take anything away on that score. So, yeah, I guess you both agree it works. Still works. All right, George, what's up next?
Next episode is a Patron's Choice episode. We don't know what the movie will be because our patrons vote on them, and that vote hasn't been finalized yet. In fact, the poll is open right now. The choices are The Grand Budapest Hotel from 2014, The Equalizer from 2014, and The Interview from 2014. I guess the theme is movies from 2014, Joe.
Yeah, pretty much. It's called Wes, Denzel, and Rogen 2014.
Okay.
Because, of course, Denzel Washington is in one of these films, and one of these films is directed by Wes Anderson, and Seth Rogen is in one of the films.
Alrighty. So if you want to vote, but are not a patron, you can fix that by becoming one at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
So I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romacka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romacka.
This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.
The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, turn the phone off.
Mm-hmm. Is it Trump asking for money?
Oh, you saw that?
Yes, I did.
All the people that got a text from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Dear Abby, my husband is recovering from a severe heart attack. Dear Ann Landers, I am a single mom with a big problem. It's my 11-year-old daughter. Dear Miss Manners, I've been invited to a formal dinner party by some wealthy upper-class friends.